Clean Energy New Hampshire's virtual community gathering. We will celebrate the careers of two of New Hampshire's clean energy pioneers, State Senator Martha Fuller Clark and State Representative Bob Backus, and look to the future by engaging all of you in helping us to meet the challenges ahead. My name is Tom Burak, and I've served as a member of the Board of Directors of Clean Energy New Hampshire since 2018. In my day job, I'm an attorney and consultant with the firm of Sheehan, Finney, Bass & Green in Manchester, and I previously served for 10 years as Commissioner of the New Hampshire Department of Environmental Services. I want to start with three big sets of thanks. First, to each and every one of you, thank you for being part of this amazing Clean Energy New Hampshire community. It is really remarkable the positive changes that like-minded individuals can bring about by coming together in common cause. Your enthusiasm and your commitment are a big part of the energy in Clean Energy New Hampshire. And together, we are that very community that this morning's keynote, Dr. Catherine Wilkinson, was speaking of. My second thanks is a thank you to all of you for participating in our first ever online Local Energy Solutions Conference. As today's and tomorrow's sessions are demonstrating, just because we can't safely gather together physically in one place doesn't mean that we can't continue learning from and with each other and advancing the transformation to a clean energy economy. Third, thanks for joining us for this first ever virtual event honoring two of our state's clean energy champions. We all stand on the shoulders of those who came before us, and it's only fitting to reflect on what we've already accomplished. The strong, visionary, and long-standing leadership of folks like today's honorees help give us the courage, the confidence, and dare I say again, the energy to meet and overcome the challenges facing the clean energy movement. And the work of these two folks over the years has inspired and reinforced our communal efforts in which Clean Energy New Hampshire plays such a vital and central role. And that's why I'm so thrilled to be involved with Clean Energy New Hampshire. Because this isn't about each of us individually. It's about all of us together taking on what is perhaps the most existential threat mankind has yet faced, and doing so in a way that addresses the needs and concerns of all of humanity and creates a better, healthier, more prosperous, and more equitable world in the process. Now, I first got interested in energy and environmental challenges in my early teens, and I still recall one of my first independent study projects in junior high school, which was building a solar still. No, I wasn't trying to make moonshine, just to be clear. But what I did want to see is whether it really was possible to create drinking water from seawater without using any fuel in the process. So with only a rough sketch and the help of a classmate and his plumber dad, I soldered together sheet metal to form a tank complete with collecting troughs, painted the interior of the tank black to collect the heat more, painted the interior, topped it with large panes of glass, and even glued insulation sheets to the outside. I then filled the tank with a brine solution, and I set it out in the sunshine to see what would happen. Now, bear in mind, this was in the White Mountains of New Hampshire in the early 1970s. But it worked. Now, in the nearly 5 decades since that time, although I haven't built more solar stills, let alone stills to make moonshine, I have watched the evolution of photovoltaics, of wind turbines, of battery storage and geothermal systems, and zero energy building construction techniques as they've advanced from experimental techniques, often homegrown undertakings, to really full-scale commercial-grade technologies that are cost-competitive, clean, and compelling. And they work too. These efforts and many others have succeeded because we've come together as a people to see their advantages over the way we've done things in the past, and to commit to making them our very definition of the future. And that's what Clean Energy New Hampshire is really all about. Bringing people together to envision, demonstrate, and advocate for those technologies and supporting policies and programs that will ensure a better future. a future whose way of life is charged by abundant and non-polluting energy sources, and in which we don't waste energy because we can store any extra that we create, and we are very efficient with what we use. It's a future in which energy use no longer pollutes our earth, and in which everyone shares in the benefits. Clean Energy New Hampshire is all about this community of people, all of us who are committed to this better future. And I can think of no more important work. After all, we're already seeing the tremendous benefits of technologies combined with programs and policies that we so desperately need. Everything from solar panels to wind turbines to high efficiency heating, cooling, and lighting systems to electric vehicles. Clean Energy New Hampshire is playing an essential leadership role in making these a reality here in the Granite State today. Now remember that solar still? With climate change bringing more droughts our way, as we've seen even this year, perhaps someday in the not too distant future, we will need to install net zero energy solar stills on a large scale on New Hampshire's seacoast. And we should expect that Clean Energy New Hampshire will be there to help make sure that that gets done when it's needed and done the right way. All of our board members share an unquenchable passion for this vital mission. And here we are on screen. In just a moment, you'll see the images of our chair, Charlie Niebling, our vice chair, Kevin Porter, Secretary Susan Geiger, Treasurer Jeff Haydock, as well as Dan Clapp, Tom Rooney, Jack Ruderman, April Salas, Sherry Treffery, and yours truly. We are delighted to have each and every one of you joining us for today's community gathering, and really excited to share with you now this video, which demonstrates why all of us believe so strongly in the work of Clean Energy New Hampshire. So please break out your popcorn, sit back, and enjoy the show.
Just a moment, we're working on switching over.
All right, so that was one of a few videos that you're going to see here today. I'm going to just take a brief moment here to address everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Brianna Fiorillo, and I'm the Senior Program Director with Clean Energy New Hampshire. I can't tell you how excited I am by this special event and the opportunity to share some insights into the scope of work that Clean Energy New Hampshire is engaged in. First, I'd like to put something into perspective. I joined Clean Energy New Hampshire in 2016, making the staff count a grand total of 2. Even so, we worked together to cover all hearings and sessions at the State House, intervene in PUC dockets, publish informational resources, participate in the Local Energy Solutions Work Group, and even get out into the community at various conferences and events as much as we could. Fast forward to 2020, and it never ceases to amaze me how things have changed, and for once, I'm not talking about COVID-19. CENH is now a staff of 7 strong, 7. We're the leading voice for clean energy at the Public Utilities Commission, often the only non-utility seat at the table. We now manage the Local Energy Solutions Work Group, and we support energy committees across the state with technical assistance. We even have staff members on the ground in the North Country, serving as shared energy managers for small towns. And we even helped launch Community Power New Hampshire, which is doing some really exciting things for municipal aggregation and the future of our local energy. But it doesn't stop there. CENH organized the first New Hampshire delegation to Denmark for offshore wind supply chain development, and we spearheaded the effort to kick off the industry in the state. We brought new meaning to the term relay when we organized the first EV relay across New Hampshire to promote electric vehicles. And we're fostering a community of future energy leaders through the New Hampshire Young Professionals in Energy group. My point is, our work isn't just about the behind the scenes at the State House or day-long hearings at the PUC. Our work is about getting out into the communities, collaborating with our business members to grow the clean energy industry here, and expanding our sites beyond New Hampshire to learn and to connect. I'm so proud of the work that we do, and I'm equally proud to call you partners. We could not grow to where we are today and accomplish what we have without all of your support and energy. Moving forward, your partnership will be critical as we continue to promote clean energy and technologies through education and advocacy for a stronger future. And with that, that ends my brief remarks. And I believe now we're going to hear another very quick video where we will hear from some other folks as to why they support Clean Energy New Hampshire. So bear with me for one moment while I share my screen.
Hello, everyone. Most of you do not know me, and that's a good thing. My name is Laura Richardson. My husband and I founded the New Hampshire Sustainable Energy Association in 2003, and we couldn't be more delighted about how this organization, now called Clean Energy New Hampshire, has since evolved. It's wonderful. Way back when, there were only a few dozen solar-powered and/or super-efficient homes in New Hampshire. There were almost 0 municipal buildings or businesses that could call themselves even a little bit solar power, let alone net zero. I think there were 3 solar installation companies based in the state, and they stayed profitable by having diversified business models. Decision-making resources were very difficult to find. Now, wow, everywhere we turn, we see PV and mini split air source heat pumps. We see insulation projects and wood pellet and chip boilers, and even the occasional all-electric vehicle, even during these crazy COVID days. It's so exciting for us to see unfamiliar solar company vehicles on the roads and with New Hampshire license plates. The market has dramatically expanded, and to us, that is success. You are all success. However, gosh, there's just so much further we need to go. New Hampshire truly lags behind our neighboring states, and frankly, we need to do so much better. Time is of the essence. Our climate's moves toward chaos hits us all, and now, personally, big time. We all have stories of inconvenience, droughts or floods, heat waves, increased costs, health issues, and nightmares associated with our changing climate. It's really scary, but there's also opportunity. So there's opportunity because there's still so many drafty buildings, roofs without PV, basements, roofs, and walls without adequate insulation, appliances that are wasteful, industrial operations that could be significantly more efficient, and vehicles. Whoa, there is still so much growth opportunity there. That's where all of you come in. I'd like to challenge you to make a donation, a strong donation to support CENH today. There's a bright yellow donate button at the top of their webpage, cleanenergynh.org. It's easy peasy. There's no better resource for folks in New Hampshire who want to learn, advocate, network, build relationships, and further transform New Hampshire's energy landscape. The CENH team, their staff and board, they work hard to bring you superior programming like this 2-day conference and improved public policies. Let's support them. In fact, I'm going to do that right now. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Rick Russman, and I'm an avid supporter of Clean Energy New Hampshire. This organization is the go-to organization here in our state on renewables and clean energy. Whether it's at the PUC or at the legislature, they're there on the front lines every day and working hard. The staff is outstanding, they're responsive, they're bright, and they're dedicated. I would urge you to please support Clean Energy New Hampshire. Thank you.
My name's Steve Walker. I'm from Peterborough, New Hampshire. I've had a 30-year career in renewable energy and clean energy technology. Clean Energy New Hampshire has been really a very valuable part of what I've been doing and currently am doing. Clean Energy New Hampshire, with its broad membership, is really it's the one point in our state that looks at this as an entire system. Energy is a complicated issue, and I think it's made more complicated by the fact that I believe it's very underrepresented in education. Most people really don't understand energy. And Clean Energy New Hampshire, I think, is doing an amazing job at trying to educate everybody, from legislators in Concord to municipalities, homeowners associations, our cities and towns. And I think the only way that this is going to be successful is if we're all working on this as a group, as a team, and working on it together. Collaboration really is going to be critical with this. We cannot all be doing this in individual silos. And Clean Energy New Hampshire, I think, pulls everybody together and really does look at this as a system. I'm proud to support Clean Energy New Hampshire, and I hope you find this video useful.
Hi, my name is Renee, and I'm chair of the Exeter Energy Committee. Like me, Clean Energy New Hampshire is passionate about transitioning to a clean energy economy. They have a positive, nonpartisan agenda, and one of the most important things they do is to bring people together. Now, our Town Energy Committee has deep trust in Clean Energy New Hampshire. We rely on their expertise, data, resources, and their translation of PUC legalese into laywoman's terms. Clean Energy New Hampshire has always been our trusted partner, and we return their support with our own. Both we and the town are members. In addition, every year we all attend their LES conference to learn about the next great clean energy idea. In short, Clean Energy New Hampshire is visionary. It has our support, and it deserves yours too. You'll be glad you did.
Hi, my name is Ted Van Sant. I was the previous board chair of Clean Energy New Hampshire for 6 years and have been involved with the organization since its inception. I think that the work of Clean Energy New Hampshire is important because people from all over New Hampshire, Democrats and Republicans alike, trust that the information they get from the organization is fact-based and well-researched. Clean Energy New Hampshire is the only organization in the state focused solely on issues surrounding clean energy and has become the go-to source for businesses, schools, legislators, residents, the media, and anyone who wants to engage in clean energy. Most people in New Hampshire support renewable energy and energy efficiency, and they count on Clean Energy New Hampshire to do the hard work of promoting and defending these technologies. And even though I'm no longer on the board, I'm proud of the staff and the work they do, and I will continue to support the organization financially and by writing letters and making calls when I receive their action alerts. And I encourage you to do the same. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much. It's so nice to hear from, the founders and the people that have come before us. I am Madeline Minot, and I'm the Executive Director of Clean Energy New Hampshire, and I've been in my position for a little over 2 years. And I'm happy to welcome our special guests, Senator Martha Fuller Clark and Representative Bob Backus, for a brief recognition and a conversation with them. So I will start by introducing you. New Hampshire State Senator Martha Fuller Clark represents District 21, including Durham, Lee, Madbury, Newfields, Newington, Newmarket, and the city of Portsmouth. She's chair of the Senate Energy and Natural Resources Committee and the vice chair of the Senate Health and Human Services Committee. Senator Fuller Clark has served more than 25 years at the state legislature, including 7 terms in the Senate and 6 terms in the House. She's been a steadfast supporter of clean energy throughout her legislative career. Sadly, Senator Fuller Clark is retiring from her legislative duties and not seeking re-election this year, and we will certainly miss her. We also have New Hampshire State Representative Bob Backus, who represents Manchester's Ward 12. He is chair of the House Science, Technology, and Energy Committee. Representative Backus has served 4 terms in the House and is also a member of Manchester's Conservation Commission. As a longtime environmental attorney and accomplished legislator, he's an ardent advocate for renewable energy and advancing New Hampshire's clean energy economy. Sadly, Representative Backus is also retiring from legislative duties and is not seeking re-election this year, and he will also be missed at the State House. As my role is Executive Director of Clean Energy New Hampshire, I actually spend quite a bit of my time in your committees, and you've gotten to see me quite a bit and know me, and I can certainly say that I've really appreciated working closely with you both on many clean energy bills and issues, and we've had many conversations. So we wanted to recognize you as you step down from your legislative roles. And we'd love to hear from you as you reflect on your legislative careers. So I would like to start by asking you a few questions. We'll start with you, Senator Fuller Clark. I'm curious to know what energy issues have been important to you or have been priorities during your legislative career.
Well, I'd just like to begin by saying that my background in terms of commitment started with looking at how New Hampshire preserves its natural and historic and cultural resources in the state. And that's been a very important issue to me for many, many years. I trained as an architectural historian. So, and I certainly followed the work of ST&E when I was in the House. But it was really after I came to the Senate and Alice Chamberlain in Governor Lynch's office reached out to me and asked me if I would do the heavy lifting by sponsoring a bill to put into place the renewable energy standards for New Hampshire. And I'm very proud of, maybe jumping ahead a little bit, but of having created that framework. And it's clear to me, having been an environmental advocate for so many years, that we have continued to turn our back in New Hampshire on the climate crisis. And so if we're going to address that climate crisis for our state and for the country, we have to have a very aggressive forward-looking policy to shift the energy sources in the state from oil and gas and coal, which is where, when I first began, most of our energy was coming from coal and from oil, which are having to be imported from out of the state. And during the time that I was in the Senate, we saw a major shift. If you think back to like 12 years ago, everybody was worried that we were going to run out of oil and that we were going to have a huge energy crisis. And so we shifted to looking at the role that natural gas would play as a new energy source for the state. Again, we don't generate any of these major energy sources in New Hampshire. And so that continues to be a concern with regard to high energy prices. So what it became apparent to me, beginning with working on implementing the renewable energy portfolio, which we were the last state in New England to adopt, that New Hampshire was way behind. Behind in New Hampshire, behind in New England, and behind in other states. And so this was a very significant step that we needed to take. And out of that, effort, I became much more knowledgeable about the energy issues facing our state and facing the country. And so what's really been driving my role since that has been to do everything that we can to transition our energy sources now from, it was first from oil and coal, as I said, which we've seen change, now from natural gas to a situation where we are going to be totally dependent, if you wish, but I don't need that in a negative sense, on renewables. And what's exciting right now is to see all of the technology changes, and we already heard from Tom Burek about, really the remarkable transitions that have already occurred. I think that we are still on the brink of this clean energy technology revolution, and we need to continue to make sure that New Hampshire does a better job of positioning itself to assure that that transformation happens here in New Hampshire as well as throughout the country.
Thank you. How about you, Representative Backus? What have been some of your priority energy issues when you first maybe wanted to join the legislature?
Well, if I may be indulged, Madeline, I just was so charmed by Tom Burek's story about his solar still. I mean, that's just wonderful. I was a little older than he was, but about that same time, I was working in a large Manchester law firm, and one of the senior partners came in. Would you like to get involved in a certain energy project? Turned about the Seabrook nuclear plant, which I knew nothing about and nothing about nuclear energy, and it dominated my life for a long, long time. And I look back at that and what Martha's contributed, and it's remarkable. In those days when the issue was Seabrook, there were two eternal truths. If you didn't want Seabrook, the alternative was coal. That was it. Nobody was talking about any other alternative. And the second was, as I, just drew up this little diagram, you couldn't have energy economic growth without increasing use of energy. These two eternal truths turned out to be totally wrong. And so we've come an awful long way. It's just really wonderful to see how far we've come. But my gosh, we've got an awful long way to go too. I mean, we've got to the point where we have much better alternatives than nuclear or coal. We've got to the point where we know that you can help your economy by reducing your energy use through energy efficiency. And so that's certainly my number one priority. And we know we have many, many fine alternatives that do not emit or generate high-level dangerous radioactive waste called renewables. And they've come on, and nobody has done more to advance those things moving forward than clean energy and its excellent staff of people led by Madeline Monod. Those are certainly the priorities. And I can't tell you how pleased I am to be recognized by you folks. When I got in the legislature, I thought, well, $100 a year isn't too much, but maybe once in a while somebody will care about my opinions. Well, now I'm going to be shortly a lame duck in just a few days, and I didn't think anybody would care about my opinions at this point. So I'm really, really pleased to be here and be recognized by you folks, all of whom I admire for what they do.
I'm curious, I can certainly have a lot of respect as to, in the legislative process, sometimes we put in a whole lot of work, but we don't get a bill across the finish line. Or if we do, it meets, it doesn't quite get through the governor's office. So Senator Fuller-Clark, you mentioned, being recruited to sponsor the Renewable Portfolio Standard. That I'm sure is a very proud achievement. It's a foundational clean energy policy in New Hampshire. Are there any other, clean energy bills that you feel particularly proud of accomplishing while you were in the legislature?
Well, I certainly am proud to have played a leadership role in the passage of the Regional Greenhouse Gas Initiative, so that now we have two fundamental policies in place that are driving, on the one hand, energy efficiency, and on the other hand, that are driving renewables. And so that's been very, very significant. I certainly have had the opportunity to work on a number of other energy bills, both as a sponsor and as a co-sponsor. I think that I was very pleased to work on the changes and reforms to the language that dealt with the site review committee, and which provided an opportunity for much greater input from communities than had existed in the past. And I think, you know, because we made those changes, we were able to really prevent the pipeline from going through northern New Hampshire into Canada. And I think that was a very important fight that went on. And I think that, again, by not having that in place, and there are other pipeline issues, but gas pipeline issues as well, but that it's created a stronger framework to push renewables to the forefront. So that was an important piece of legislation. I certainly appreciated the time I had to work with Tom Burek and on creating a plan to get us to clean energy, the plan that was 25 by 25. And I'm disappointed when we look at what the other states around us have done with the issue of the degree to which our electricity is coming from renewables. And they're looking at, you know, going to 40%, 50% rather than 25% in the next 15 to 20 years. And I was very disappointed that we weren't able to move that legislation forward this year so that we extended our commitment to renewables. But it was an honor to work in developing that initial plan that was put into place. What, Tom, is it 12 years ago?
We finalized that plan in 2009, Senator.
Yeah. So, and it also gave me the opportunity to just develop an even deeper understanding of energy issues. So I'm very appreciative of having had the opportunity to play a role in that.
Great. How about you, Representative Backus?
As I look at my career in the legislature, was not as long as Martha's, although I was pretty active up there as a civilian before I got elected. So, but I sure learned an awful lot, you know, when you're there. You know, there's two things you do as a legislator. You try and stop legislation, and you try and pass good legislation. The first task is much easier than the second task.
I agree.
So one of the things I'm proud of is that we fought off a lot of attempts to end RGGI, weaken RGGI. It's kind of shocking to me. Even now on the books in New Hampshire, we have a provisional repeal of RGGI that will go into effect if one of the other major, or one or more of the other New England major states, I guess maybe it's two, in the unlikely event that they decide to leave RGGI, we are automatically out. But I'm very pleased that we fought off attempts to end RGGI, and we tried to do better with the funding for RGGI through the use of RGGI auctions for energy efficiency, and we have not succeeded in that. And we've had a good many frustrations, especially this last time with, you know, the record number of vetoes. And one thing I would cite is I think our bill on promoting energy storage and having the PUC open a docket on that, I think that's a good accomplishment, because energy storage, as you all know, is going to pair very nicely with making renewables more economic and more part of the reliability, improve the reliability of the grid with more reliance on renewables, where we keep getting hit with it. Well, they're intermittent. The sun doesn't always shine. The wind doesn't always blow. But with economically feasible energy storage, we can move forward on that. So those are the things I might mention. One of the things that really interesting to me is how hard it's been to get anything done on addressing climate change at the state level. That's been very frustrating. I don't know if you saw it today, but in the New York Times is a big story about talking about engineered solutions to the climate crisis. That scares the bejesus out of me, you know. I mean, you know, talk about playing God. that we're going to alter the world's energy budget for the world with some sort of aerosol or, putting things up in the sky. And, I hope we can come to a way to address this climate crisis without having to take a chance on wrecking this planet. You just look at some of the stories Amory Lovins tells about the unintended consequences of environmental engineering, and it's horrifying. So we've got that. And I'm sorry we haven't made more progress on that.
Yeah, so sort of along those lines, is there a specific policy issue that you think, if you're speaking to your colleagues that are sticking around your committees or maybe some of the new legislators that are coming in, what would you tell them they should really focus on getting done ASAP related to clean energy?
Well, I'll go back to that hardy perennial net metering. I mean, I just, as you know, Madeline, I had a little bit of a difference with the majority of my caucus. I thought we should take what we could get because there was some bipartisan support for some movement on that. Particularly, the bill that would have permitted governmental units, cities, towns, and I guess county to go above the 1 megawatt cap. I personally thought we should have grabbed that, and I think that's going to be available next time. I hope there's good bipartisanship on that, and that we do that. Let me just make one other point. I think we're stuck with the phrase net metering, but it's unfortunate. Every time you bring it up, first thing you have to do is define it, because people just don't understand what it is unless they're all into energy policy like all of you here are. And I've one of the things I've tried to do modestly, and I would like to continue to try to do, is have people start talking about impact on rates. I like to say nobody pays rates. We all pay bills, but we don't pay rates. And when I listen to, Senator Feltus debate with Governor Sununu, and will net metering raise rates? Well, it might, but it'll lower bills. And I think, and I think that's what we, if we can get that language changed, it may be a tough thing to do, but I think that's one thing that would help. So that's what I got on that, I guess.
How about you, Senator Fuller Clark?
Well, I'd just like to follow up on what Representative Backus said around the issue of rates versus bills, and to really zero in on the fact that what is driving our energy costs in New Hampshire now is not the price of energy, it's the price of transmission and the other investments that need to take place, but specifically transmission. If we look at that percentage on our bill and the fact that how we've seen that percentage increase and the cost increase at the same time where we've actually seen, thanks to natural gas, our costs go down. And that the best way to continue to lower our costs, first, as Representative Backus said, is to use less energy, to adopt greater energy efficiency, but also to realize that if we switch to distributed energy, we don't need to invest in such things as expanded transmission. And that will be another way that we can lower our energy costs. Frankly, our energy costs are not that out of line with the rest of New England. Right. And that has to do with the fact that we have to import all of our energy. With distributed energy, we have solar, we have wind, we have a very exciting opportunity going forward with offshore wind. And so we need to shift the focus, and we need to shift the conversation, and we need to encourage large businesses and assist small businesses in adopting greater energy efficiency in their businesses, in their properties, can make an enormous difference. And I think they haven't really reached out to put in place energy efficiencies that would have a significant impact on their costs. So the other thing I'd like to say is that when you, Bob, you were talking about the article in the New York Times today and what we need to be doing, there's no question in my mind that we need to be looking at adopting carbon pricing. That is one way that we can have a significant impact going forward. And what we have tried to do up till now is at least put together a commission, a study committee, whatever, to look at how New Hampshire could adopt carbon pricing, how we could partner with the rest of New England that is also very interested in moving to a program of carbon pricing, and work with our legislative delegations to ensure that there is an effort nationally to adopt carbon pricing. If we're lucky enough and hopefully have a change in administration at the national level, there is a lot of talk about implementing carbon pricing. So we need to be in a position to have a better understanding of what that will mean for New Hampshire and what is the best way to accomplish that.
Thank you. And finally, my last question is, from your perspectives as legislators, what is the role of organizations like ours, Clean Energy New Hampshire, in advancing clean energy policies in our state?
So I'll go first, if that's all right.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Okay, first of all, I too want to thank you very much for recognizing my work and the work of Representative Baucus, and to say that we would not have been able to pass the legislation that we have been able to get passed over the last 5 to 10 years without the input of Clean Energy New Hampshire and your previous incarnations in that effort. And it's absolutely essential that we continue to have you there to educate the public, to educate businesses, to educate legislators as to why it is so critical to move forward and strengthen clean energy policies in New Hampshire. And some of those things that we need to be looking at that I think you can help with, and you're already talking about, but is clearly the issue of moving forward if we want to reduce emissions with electric vehicles. And I know that Senator Waters is on this presentation this afternoon, and I would like to thank him for his leadership in trying to move that issue forward. And it's we know right now that over 50%, I believe, of the pollution in New Hampshire with regard to emissions comes from automobiles. So if we shift to electric vehicles, not only are we going to reduce costs, create a cleaner renewable energy policy going forward, but we're also going to have a significant impact on the health of the citizens of New Hampshire. So that's a very important initiative. There are other that you started to touch on today, new emerging technologies. We've heard over and over again that one of the challenges with wind and with solar is that it's intermittent. So everything that we can do to stay on top of the changing technology related to batteries is going to be very significant. And I think we need to make sure legislatively that there is a balance between the private sector and the utilities in terms of how we advance the use of batteries in New Hampshire. And I look forward to you being a strong voice, your organization, in making sure that we keep that balance in place. And then there is the other issue where we have to look at reducing peak demand. Because again, if we can reduce peak demand, since our rates are set at the demand at the peak every day, we can also have an impact on costs and an impact on efficiency. And so working to ensure that citizens have access to behind the meter monitoring is also a very important step to take forward. And finally, I would say that we need to work to change some of the standards that are coming out of ISO New England, because I think they are behind in terms of recognizing the energy revolution that we are going through right now.
Thank you.
And
how about you, Representative Zhang?
All I can say is I endorse everything I heard in those videos from all your founders and former board members and so forth. You know, I think Clean Energy New Hampshire is the most effective advocate we could have. And if I could wish for one thing, it would be to clone Madeline Minot and Brianna and your other staff members a couple of times, because you're all doing an awesome job. I just wish there was, you know, 2 Clean Energy New Hampshires, but even more, 3 of you and 3 of Brianna and your other staff.
I know we've grown, as Brianna said, from 2 to 7, but we could use some more.
That's an amazing achievement. And you know, the good thing is that when you appear, you represent not just the traditional environmentalists and not just residential ratepayers like our capable consumer have, you represent business interests as well. And we have a certain business organization that doesn't agree with us on some of these things. And so that's a very important thing. And I may be leaving the legislature with great sadness, may I say, but I'm certainly not leaving my interest in energy policy, good energy policy, and hope to be in any way you think I can be to be helpful to you and your organization, because I think it is just so wonderful that we have you, and you've done an absolutely phenomenal job in your 2 years with this, Madeline. And
thank you.
Built the organization to a very significant and important part. And we will get New Hampshire moved up on the rankings for our renewable energy efforts and our energy efficiency efforts.
We'll get there. We have faith. Thank you so much. So this is the point where if we were in person, I would shake your hand and thank you so much. And we also
I would give you a big hug.
I know, I would love a hug. I would be handing you actually a thank you gift that we will send you in the mail. Brianna will show you. We have one for each of you. So there's a nice, beautiful picture of a New Hampshire landscape with solar panels and a little recognition message. There you go. There's the other one. So you'll be getting those from us in the mail soon.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Very much. And I know that both Representative Bacchus and myself, we are committed to helping you sustain and expand the work of Clean Energy New Hampshire, because you are essential to moving the state in the right direction.
We really appreciate it. And I'll be calling on you when I need some advice or someone to come testify at the State House.
Absolutely.
Sounds good. All right, thank you so much. And with that, I am going to hand it off to Charlie, who will be talking with us for a little bit, and then we have one final video.
Okay, thank you, Madeline. Senator Clark and Representative Bacchus, thanks so much for all your wisdom, your knowledge. I'm just incredibly impressed with your ability to rattle through the issues, considering the breadth and scope of stuff that you've had to deal with, not only in energy, but in all facets. I think, Senator Clark, you and I worked together on the conservation license plate about 25 years ago. And Bob, you will not remember this, but my sister dragged me to a Clamshell Alliance event in 1976. I remember you. So there you go.
Thank you. I never represented the Clamshell Alliance, actually, but they were certainly a strong ally, and it's kind of hard to imagine. At one point, we had 3 New Hampshire state senators that had arrest records at Seabrook, all serving at the same time.
Well, anyway, thank you so much, and we hope you won't go away, because
not going to go away.
Your knowledge and experience and institutional memory will be extremely valuable to your successors on the Science, Tech, and Energy Committee and the Energy and Natural Resources Committee in the Senate. It's been my privilege to serve on the board of Clean Energy New Hampshire for 6 years, and as board chair for the last year. It's an impressive organization that has experienced tremendous maturation. As an advocacy group in recent years, we've pressed hard against sometimes challenging political circumstances to advance an ambitious agenda and made real progress despite the obstacles. I think about these override campaigns we've unfortunately had to invest enormous resources in recent years, and how close we've come, and what an integral role the organization has played in trying to influence a critical mass of legislators to see the value and importance in a clean energy future of the state. An engaged and supportive membership has made all of this possible. But as a membership-based organization, we have never had much of a history of strong charitable giving beyond dues. This year, the board and staff set out to change that with an ambitious goal, motivated in large part by an anonymous matching $20,000 gift we received early in the year. Now, to put this in perspective, previous to 2020, I think the largest gift that Clean Energy New Hampshire had ever received was in maybe the low four figures. I'm not remembering exactly, but we were quite taken aback by the generosity and commitment and dedication of this individual. And it made us think to ourselves, there's a lot more support for the organization and the work, and we're not asking for it. So we've been humbled very much by the responsiveness of our community in this most unusual year, as this gift has been more than matched. We've had 100% board participation and record contributions through the statewide New Hampshire Gives Day of Philanthropy back in June. Many of you listening perhaps contributed to that effort, and I thank you humbly for your support. But this support indicates just how important the work of the organization is. And so today we're taking our campaign public. I'm very pleased to report that over the course of the year, through the efforts of the staff and board and the generosity of many members, including a number I'm sure who are listening today, we have raised a little over $43,000, about halfway toward our goal. I'd like to share with you today that we have another generous matching opportunity between now and Giving Tuesday on December 1st. Giving Tuesday is the day after Monday, when everyone wakes up with a hangover over all the cyber spending they did the day before, perhaps a little bit of guilt, and recognizes the opportunity to make some charitable gifts as well. We're pleased to announce that 3 anonymous generous donors have stepped forward and agreed to match the first $11,000 in contributions, dollar for dollar. So if you're feeling inclined, and I hope that you are, you have an opportunity as soon as we get off the call this afternoon to go straight to the Clean Energy New Hampshire website, cleanenergynh.org, click on the donate button, and any contribution you make, large or small, will be matched dollar for dollar up to $11,000. And we'll leave that match in place until December 1st in Giving Tuesday, but I have a feeling, I'm confident, I'm optimistic, given all the advance work that the board and staff has done, that we're going to blow that match opportunity out of the water pretty quickly. I think Brianna may show you a little information about other ways to give. If you've already participated this year, back in June, or through other solicitations, other requests, I want to say thank you. Thank you very much for your support. If you're considering a gift for the first time, we'd love to talk with you. Feel free to call any member of the board or staff to discuss a contribution level. We're happy to fill you in on a lot of the details of what's going on with the organization. We couldn't do this work without you. I will say, on a very personal and professional note, my participation on the board has been the most gratifying experience as in a volunteer leadership position with an organization in my entire career, and I've served on many nonprofit boards. It's just been extraordinarily gratifying to watch the organization flourish and mature and become the voice that it's become for all energy in New Hampshire. So with that, I think we have a little closeout video that we're going to show you. And Martha, thank you once again. Bob, thank you for your contributions, and we look forward to seeing you roaming the halls of the State House with an orange badge on.
So, Charlie, I have a question if you can hear me.
Sure.
I just wanted to make sure that contributions and donations coming in are tax deductible.
To the full extent of the law, we are a 501c3
I think it's really important to make that clear.
We are strictly nonpartisan, apolitical, and yes, your contribution is 100% tax deductible. Brianna, ready to go?
Yes. Thank you, Charlie.
Thank you.
At Clean Energy New Hampshire, we're your voice in all energy matters.
Because where you get your energy really does matter.
That's why at Clean Energy New Hampshire, we're dedicated to supporting policies and programs that strengthen the state's economy, protect public health, and conserve natural resources.
Across the state, we work alongside our members and supporters to put the needs of New Hampshire first.
Building relationships and networks across people and organizations.
Expanding opportunities for jobs and investments. Strengthening our communities.
Empowering residents and businesses to take control of their energy futures.
Focusing on policy, not politics. Using a fact-based approach to get the job done.
Providing nonpartisan expert energy insights.
Making connections across industries, policymakers, and communities.
Listening to your priorities and transforming them into solutions.
Inspiring the next generation of energy leaders. It's our passion for the place we call home that drives our work. Because we love the Granite State.
So, on behalf of all of us, thanks very much for your support. And remember, we're your voice in all energy matters.
Thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate you, and we look forward to many of you joining us for day 2 of the first ever virtual Local Energy Solutions Conference tomorrow. We kick off the day with our Energy Executives panel, which is not to be missed. I'm sure it'll be a wonderful and interesting conversation. So thank you all for joining us today, and we will see many of you tomorrow. Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye, thank you.